you a very, very good morning. A very warm welcome to Sunday Breakfast on BBC Radio Manchester. Mike Shaft with you right the way through till 9 o'clock this morning. I do hope you can stay with me. Now, have you ever wondered who makes the stained glass on church windows or possibly even your front door? The Stained Leaded Glass Company is a specialist craft company making and repairing stained glass windows based in Bolton. I popped along to the workshop this week to find out more. Well, it's Wednesday afternoon and I've travelled to Bolton to Riverside and Waters Meeting Road. I used to come here a lot in the old days because the cinema's just over there.
Right, yeah, just round the corner.
I have with me a gentleman by the name of Andrew Seddon. Now, Andrew runs and owns the Stained Leaded Glass Company. I can honestly say I've never heard of you before, but a very good afternoon to you.
Yeah, good afternoon to you, Mike.
Thank you very much indeed for inviting us here today. Tell me what goes on in this building, please.
Well, we have been going for a long time, even though you've never heard of us, so we're going for nearly 30 years, and we make and restore traditional stained glass windows. So we do a lot of work for churches, but also direct for domestic customers as well.
How big an industry? I can imagine for churches it's a big industry, but how big an industry is it?
Over 30 years, it's sort of been a bit of a roller coaster for us, and I think the interest in stained glass is up and coming again. There's a great interest at the moment for vintage and period properties, anything vintage that people want to keep and are very interested in that.
Let's talk about it in two parts. So let's talk about the domestic first of all, because I don't know which, was it the Elizabethans or whoever it was, but they used to have this stained glass above the doors, the top panels above windows.
That's right, yeah. So, and if you look around areas of Manchester, especially South Manchester, Cholton, Whalley Range, we're doing an awful lot of work for the period properties around there. So like you were saying, when the houses were built, Victorian times or later, a lot of the houses were built with beautiful stained glass in, lovely features above the doors, in the doors, and it's part of the lovely part of our work is to help to keep the period features and restore the stained glass in people's houses. One of the big parts of our work now is as well as repair and restoration of the old stained glass, is that we can actually help people keep the original stained glass but upgrade to double glazing by actually sealing stained glass inside double glazed units. So we can restore the original stained glass and keep the original features, but we can upgrade the insulation, and it makes a big difference to a house.
So how does it work? Does somebody come and find you and say, come and have a look at this, will you? Because we want it, but it's in a right state.
That's right. A lot of people find us through our website or Facebook pages. Now we've got social media. You can see examples of our work and videos showing how it's actually done. So people do get in touch. Quite often they just send us photographs and sizes, and we can give prices based on that. Alternatively, we do go around and have a look, and we can give best advice actually by having a look at the windows themselves.
I can imagine that it's a very painstaking process, because when I've seen it done on television, which I have because I live for Holmes programs, and every so often they'll do a house which needs its stained glass either done again or brand new or whatever, and you see the people working, and it just seems to take forever because it's so fidgety with sometimes tiny pieces of glass, coloured glass, the eye or whatever the design is. So explain the process to me, please.
Yeah, so the way we're making stained glass in the studio now is exactly the same way it's been made for hundreds of years. So we start off with the design. The colour design is actually called a cartoon. So long before the days of Tom and Jerry, the stained glass designer was drawing a cartoon. And the cartoon is a scale drawing, but in full colour, showing all the colour and the design and the lead lines. Once the design is approved, then we draw a full scale drawing with just the centre of the leads actually on the drawing. And that's called the cut line drawing, because we're going to use that to actually cut the coloured glass. So then that's the next stage. We select all the different colours and different types of glass, and we can still get all the Victorian style glass, so we can make the new windows in exactly the same way as the originals. So we cut all the glass to the cut line drawing, and then all the separate pieces are joined using the lead, which is like a H section, so the glass fits into the lead. bit like making your own jigsaw, really. And once we've joined all the pieces with the lead, we can then solder all the joints together and the window's finished. So that's like a single glaze traditional stained glass, and then we can actually seal that inside a double glazed unit to make it like a triple glazed with the stained glass as a centre pane. And so that's sort of the traditional process, but with a bit of a modern twist at the end.
And of course, those old windows wouldn't have, is it the UV value or whatever it is, wouldn't have that. But now, if you turn that into a double glazed unit, it would.
That's right, yeah. So we can meet modern building regulation standards. So you can get an A-rated window, even with the old stained glass. But that does make a massive difference. The difference between single glazing. And I've still got some single glazing at home in my front door with some lovely stained glass we made. But this time of the year, it drips with condensation. So we were always wiping it to dry it, and you can feel the cold coming from it. And people do tell us once we've done the encapsulation what a big difference it makes.
Do you get many people who are having stained glass for the first time, and what's the thinking behind that?
We do get a lot of people, especially younger people who've maybe got more modern houses, modern apartments, but they want to inject a bit of character, a bit of style, a bit of colour into their house. And stained glass it's a traditional medium, but it's a very modern art as well. You can get some very contemporary, beautiful designs. You can't beat the look of when you get the sunshine streaming through the window and the colours cast from the stained glass across the walls and the floors. It makes a massive difference. And I think with these days where the big trend is for neutral colours and especially shades of grey, to inject that colour, it makes a massive difference.
In flashes.
Yes, yeah, I think you need that colouring.
Let me tell you, that was part one. Next week you'll hear more from Andrew when he tells me about the work he does in churches. Absolutely sensational. And I have to say, I did learn so much when I went to the Stained Leaded Glass Company in Bolton.